Welcome to Conversations with Writers. I'm Andy. I'm a writer, and this is an educational YouTube series meant to catalog writing strategies and philosophies through conversations with other writers. Nate Schierman grew up just outside of New York City. He graduated from Haverford College with a BA in English. His first post-graduation job was in NBC's prestigious Page program, where he worked on programs like Saturday Night Live, Late Night with Conan O'Brien, and The Rosie O'Donnell Show. Nate continued working for NBC after moving to Los Angeles, but soon pivoted to a second career, zookeeping. Nate worked as a zookeeper for roughly 20 years, including Disney's Animal Kingdom, Jacksonville Zoo, San Diego Zoo, and Cleveland Metro Parks Zoo. Inspired to move to State College by his then wife, a State College native, Nate got his Master's of Education in Higher Education through Penn State's World Campus, and now serves as an academic advisor in PSU's College of Arts and Architecture. And this is my conversation with Nate. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. So what are you working on now, and what motivated the project?
I'm currently not working on writing anything right now. I'm going to be acting in an upcoming production for the Sock and Buskin Theater Company. But I am toying with the idea of writing a murder mystery for Sock and Buskin, with the basic premise being that it's a high school reunion, and the characters are from popular fairy tales. So it's a high school reunion of, Snow White and Cinderella and Hansel and Gretel, and all your favorites.
That sounds amazing. I can't wait to see it. So is this going to be like a full 90-minute play, or is this something that you're thinking about submitting for the showcase, the short
No,
play
I mean,
festival?
it would be like the other the full-length murder mysteries by Sock and Buskin. But it's just a matter of writing them. It's the hard part.
Surely is the hard part. What have you learned about yourself through writing?
So this is where I feel like I can serve as a good cautionary tale for any aspiring writers, especially younger aspiring writers, is that, I had written, my entire life. Like the second grade was the first time I wrote a story, and they had me read it to the other second grade classes. And my elementary school principal would call me Mark Twain every time he saw me. Writing was something that I always loved and thought would be a part of my life. It was something I thought I would do for a living. As I got older, my very pragmatic parents kind of discouraged me towards pursuing the arts. They were both accountants, and they didn't enjoy their jobs, but they had the viewpoint that this is something we do to put food on the table. We're trying to instill that value in me, and they're my parents, so I listened, pursued other fields, always telling myself, like writing is something you can do anywhere, anytime. You can always do it on the side, not really knowing at the time, but learning along the way that it doesn't really work that way. It's really something, you have to feel inspired, and sometimes inspiration gets you at a moment where you can't, go do the writing. Sometimes when you do have the time to do the writing, you're not feeling inspired. It can be very frustrating. And it's something that never really goes away. I went to a screenwriting seminar, I guess you would call it. Robert McKee was a very famous screenwriting teacher. He was featured in the movie adaptation. And the conference in and of itself, like I didn't find a lot of value in it. But the one thing you said that really stuck with me was he described that writing impetus as a monster. And it's just constantly inside you, just like gnawing away. And you're at the dinner table trying to have a conversation with your spouse or your kids, and that monster is like in the back of your head gnawing away. You're trying to, concentrate on work, and the monster is gnawing away. I find myself, sitting at a traffic light, and mind starts to wander about story ideas. So it's always kind of eating away at you. And but then you add to that the frustration of not being able to find time to feed that monster. It's a long way of saying that, if you're an aspiring writer and it's something that you want to do, don't not pursue it because it will gnaw away at you.
I think that's really great advice that this is something that we should take very seriously. In fact, that was one of the reasons that I chose to leave teaching. When you're, pulling 60 to 80 hours, 80-hour weeks, you're not able to sit down and write like you should be able to. And especially when you're in the university system, you sort of have to chase the tenure track dragon to make that financially sustainable. But part of that requires being able to make books and produce art. But if you don't really have that time, then it does become a bit of a struggle. What's the role or responsibility of writing for you? What keeps you generating material? Why write?
I'm not really generating anything. The role of writing for the writer themselves, and the role is to just, to have that expression, for lack of a better word, I'm trying to think of the word, that catharsis, basically, of being able to get those ideas and help paper it, share them with others. Every writer believes they have something unique to say, and most times they're probably right. But even if it's something contrived or something that somebody else has already thought of, like just getting it out of yourself, it's a very start feeling with responsibility to others to try and enlighten. I mean, it's a hard question to answer because there are some others that will find a formula and places for their audience and stuff like that, and you might be very artistically satisfying. I think I'm not necessarily driven, but even in those cases, you have a devoted audience, you post something to them. So they like you for the reason to kind of stick with what they like, even though it might go against your artistic inklings and disappoint misery, and you disappoint him. But I think, at the end of the day, it's still responsibility and to yourself, right? Because you enjoy it, right? Because there's something inside of you trying to do so. The greatest responsibility.
When you're struggling to write for whatever reason, what strategies do you use to get yourself back to the page?
Yep, feel like I'm the best person to ask this question because I haven't gone to the village in months. There's a piece I've been working on for decades, and to put it out for a long stretch of the time, being inspired and go back. And my advice would be really try and live a life, or like I said, if that inspiration hits you, at any moment, that you're able to kind of break it out and get it.
What revision strategy or strategies do you find most useful when revising your own work, and why? What problems or challenges do these activities help you solve?
Or like I said, there's that piece I've been working on for a long time. Every time I go back to it, I gotta start all over again. I gotta start at page one and start reading it, remember everything. So I'm classifying myself not so much as a writer, but a reviser. It's not just that I'm constantly reviving, but I think making an album helps. I think there's something to do with that. Thousands of characters and books and hundreds of different plot lines, and all these people all that together. And I think that helps also, like, writing out like what your plans are for these characters. I mean, it's perfectly fine for it to change along the way, but at least have some semblance of an idea so that when you go back and like me, remind yourself that
So a lot of your work has been through collaboration. What does that collaboration process look like? So when you're writing with someone, how does that change your strategy or the way you're communicating a story? How does that work?
That can be very challenging. I think in the case of my sorry, work that I view sorry and that's something like right. So it's really thought that characters that she came up with. She definitely makes the heavy lifting. I just don't know, and then help, you know, keep focus on the end goal, much like with some humor and stuff like that. I think it gets really tricky if you're sort of kind of starting from scratch and you both kind of see your babies and it's really hard to really what life you trying to believe. But I mean, there's still working as hard as one of the few times like that. I did it a few times when writing classes. But I think when you're doing something like that, there's a bit of tricky. You want to build all the things to be a little bit more detached so that this is part of it.
What is your favorite part of the writing process and why?
It's really cliche to say, but my favorite part is the practice of taking on it. Really, like I hate it when writers talk about that because it doesn't make any sense. In essence, like you are driving the they're steering the ship, but it really does seem like these characters, if you spend enough time with them, they really do start to feel like real people. It's hard to describe, but like the thoughts that you have for them, the things that you decide they're going to do or say, sometimes doesn't seem like their own idea of it seems like something that makes sense for them as people. Like almost like if you were giving advice to a friend, telling how you their life, but this is your suggestion based on what you know about them. And as an author, you can, as a friend, you can push them to follow your advice if you believe you can. But just like in your life with those friends, like maybe they'll follow your advice part of the way. Maybe they follow all the others, but you really look at it and envision that. It almost feels like that for characters that you write. If we start pushing them in the direction and things feel that it doesn't really feel right, so it's going to change a little bit. I don't know if I feel saying it like that, but at the same time, it makes sense.
What reading or watching suggestions do you have? What authors or playwrights do you keep in your back pocket and why?
My favorite author is I read a couple of his short stories in school, just for pleasure over the years. I actually had a dog named Rabbit, after Updike's carrying character. But in particular, there was a story that he wrote called P. It's about teenage boys working as electric grocery store. Couple of girls of age come in and the way we just kind of go without knowing it's like something new fell in love with them. It's like and they started getting harassed by their dogs because they were wearing baby suits in the store and which we felt this need to like champion for them without them ever even knowing it. And it's something that resonated with me. Pathetic attempts to win over girls in my adolescence. Kind of talking about hero mentality. It's just something that resonated with me that much. And then in school, we read The Centaur, which was a novel that we had written where we can interrelate in different ways, like particularly mythology, like in some ways, we just like basically retold some tales in other ways to the contemporary characters were metaphorically showing things from mythology like there was like a silent and I love Greek mythology, so all of that really
Thank you so much for those suggestions. I cannot wait to check them all out. And thank you so much for making time for me. I really appreciate it. I've learned so much.
no problem. I appreciate helping somebody else.